Hey, second graders. I'm so glad to get to read to you again. And this is a special request from Zoe, Amelia Bedelia. And I'm so thrilled that Hampton Christian let me get in and get some books at the library on Saturday. So you didn't leave me many choices. There weren't many Amelia Bedelia books there. A Christmas one, and I did happen to find one we haven't read yet. So thank you, Amelia Bedelia. Let's see what she's up to. Mrs. Rogers was all in a dither. Great Aunt Myra is coming today. Now that's nice, said Amelia Bedelia. I do love company. We've been trying for years to get her to visit, said Mrs. Rogers. But Great Aunt Myra says the only place she feels at home, well, is at home. So everything must be exactly right. We do want her to be happy here. Now don't you worry your head, said Amelia Bedelia. I'll fix everything. What should I do first? Well, the guest room must be made ready. Strip the sheets off the bed, remake it with the new rosebud sheets. Thank goodness you're here. Amelia Bedelia went to the guest room. These folks do have odd ways. Imagine stripping sheets after you use them. Uh-oh, what's she gonna do? Amelia Bedelia shook her head and she stripped those sheets. Now, stripping the sheets, they wanted her to take the sheets off the bed. Look what she's doing. She is ripping those sheets. Amelia Bedelia had just finished when the doorbell rang. Oh, that must be the laundryman with Mr. Rogers' shirts, called Mrs. Rogers. Please check them and make sure they're all there. Amelia Bedelia hurried to the door and she took the package. Let's see what she's going to do, how she's going to check them. Amelia Bedelia opened the package and unfolded each shirt. 2 sleeves, 1 collar, 1 pocket, 6 buttons. Yep, they're all here. There's not one thing missing, said Amelia Bedelia. Now to check them. It would be a sight easier to buy them already checked, though, said Amelia Bedelia. And she quickly checked each shirt. Now, you think she's going to just put a check mark on it, but we're going to see what happens. Mrs. Rogers came downstairs in a rush. Amelia Bedelia, my pretty pink dress has spots in it. Please remove them with this spot remover. Leave the dress out and I will wear it tonight. I must get to the market. Oh no, we know what Amelia Bedelia is going to do. She looked at the bright pink dress. I don't see any spots. This dress, it just needs washing. But then another dress caught Amelia Bedelia's eye. She must have meant her light pink dress. Now that one is special. Amelia Bedelia held the dress up. It looks mighty nice with the spots in it, but I guess she's tired of it that way. Amelia Bedelia put some spot removers on each spot. Then she waited, and nothing happened. I didn't think that stuff would work, said Amelia Bedelia. She got her scissors, and Amelia Bedelia removed every spot from that dress. Look at that. She's cutting holes in her clothes. Amelia Bedelia, called Mrs. Rogers, please take these groceries. Amelia Bedelia ran to take the bag. Here are some roses, too. Scatter them around the living room. I must get my hair done now. And while I'm gone, wash all the vegetables, string the beans, and if you have time, make a jelly roll. Great Aunt Myra does love a jelly roll, said Mrs. Rogers. Amelia Bedelia stopped in the living room. Seems like roses would look nicer sitting proper in vases, but she wants me to scatter them around, so scattered they'll be. She didn't want her to scatter the roses like that. She wanted her to put some in one place, some in another. But, Amelia Bedelia looks like she's having fun. Amelia Bedelia went into the kitchen with the groceries and she washed all those vegetables. She found a ball of string and Amelia Bedelia started to string the beans. Now, stringing beans, she wanted her to snap the beans, pull the strings off. But instead, she's listening to what she said and putting the beans on a string. Jelly roll! Exclaimed Amelia Bedelia. I had never heard of jelly rolling. But Amelia Bedelia got out a jar of jelly and she tried again and again, but she could not get this ball of jelly to roll. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers arrived home at the same time. Mrs. Rogers said, Amelia Bedelia, please separate these eggs and pare the other vegetables that you washed. I'll do the cooking. Then she and Mr. Rogers hurried upstairs to dress. Now, I want you to know that pear, P-A-R-E, and pear can be spelled many ways. We've got P-E-A-R, which is like a fruit, and P-A-I-R, which is when you put two together. This type of pear, P-A-R-E, is when you would take a vegetable and there's a paring knife, and maybe your mom has one where you take the skin off of it, and that's what she's supposed to do, is skin those vegetables. Amelia Bedelia took out 3 eggs. I wonder why they need to be separated. They've been together all day and nothing's happened. But Amelia Bedelia separated the eggs. Look at that. She's putting some here. She's putting one there. She's keeping them away from each other. Pair the vegetables. And if you're reading, she put P-A-I-R. So she thought of the pair as when you have like 2 socks. Amelia Bedelia laughed. Here you go. Together. You two. Now be careful. I'll be separating you too. Mr. Rogers roared, "What in thunder K-Nation happened to my shirts?" "Oh, don't you like the big checks? I didn't have time to do little ones, but I will next time," promised Amelia Bedelia. So Amelia Bedelia had painted every one of his shirts checked. "My dress!" exclaimed Mrs. Rogers. "It's full of holes." "Yes, ma'am. I removed every single spot," said Amelia Bedelia. Before Mrs. Rogers could say any more, the doorbell rang. "Great Aunt Myra," said Mr. and Mrs. Rogers, and they rushed to the front door. "Good evening, grandniece. Good evening, grandnephew. My, that trip made me hungry," said Great Aunt Myra. "I'll cook you dinner right away," said Mrs. Rogers, and everyone went into the kitchen. "Amelia Bedelia, did you string the beans?" "Yes, see? They look such a homey look in the house," said Amelia Bedelia. "Look at that. I mean, she did a pretty good job. I don't think I could do that." "And I paired the vegetables. They went so well together. And there weren't very many left over." Mrs. Rogers slapped her hand on the table, but it hit a sticky blob. "Oh, what's that?" she shouted. "Jelly. I tried to make it roll, but it plop-plopped all over the place," said Amelia Bedelia. "Amelia Bedelia," said Mrs. Rogers. "How do you get things so mixed up?" "Things mixed up? I plumb forgot." She hurried to the stove. Amelia Bedelia opened the oven door. Great Aunt Myra sat up straight and she sniffed. "Hot pie, I do declare. Now that's the kind of mixed up thing I like." Great Aunt Myra announced, "Grandniece, grandnephew, I like it here." "Oh, Great Aunt Myra, we're so glad," said Mr. and Mrs. Rogers. They both began to talk at once, but Great Aunt Myra wasn't too much for words. She had her eyes on that last piece of pie. Amelia Bedelia smiled. She and Great Aunt Myra would get along. So Zoe, you can thank Zoe for this book. Zoe, thank you for letting me read to you, and I'm going to try to send this on your birthday. Love you. Hope you have a great day celebrating. And God really made you special. And to each one of you reading, God made you special. Amelia Bedelia got mixed up, but she could do something very well. And if you've listened to all the stories we've read, she cooks very well. Each one of you could do something well. If you're struggling with your math right now, you're struggling with phonics, you're struggling with just really your schedule, just know that God has given each of you the ability to learn and grow. But each of you do better at one thing than another. Amelia Bedelia made a sloppy mess of a lot of things, but she made a great apple pie. So you go do something that makes you feel good about you and know that God loves you just the way you are. Bye.